All right. Now we need to make sure everybody knows this is the spoiler podcast. For what? What are we spoiling?
Infinity War. But John Paul, that's a spoiler to the spoiler right there.
It's a spoiler to the spoiler?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Now I know you're going to spoil this thing.
Yeah.
You didn't warn me before that.
Well, but now you've spoiled the fact that I've spoiled it for you with a spoiler.
Oh.
Yeah. Hey,
that's good. Okay.
But anyone listening, but seriously, if you don't want to know a thing about Infinity War, not a thing, do not listen any further than this moment in time. Because at any second...
Or go on social media, for that matter.
Yeah, because at any moment now, past what I just said 3 seconds ago, I could spoil anything. I could tell you how Superman zipped in at the end to save the day.
And thank God he didn't do that, because that would have been horrible.
I could tell you how Darkseid came in and said, pretender, and punched Thanos out, those kind of things.
You know you're being foolish already. John Paul, start the show. Start the show.
I'm going to start the show. You are listening to the Old Titans, the spoiler podcast supreme for Avengers Infinity War. This is one of your hosts, John Paul.
This is the main host, B-Man.
The main host?
The mean host. The
Okay.
main, I said main.
The mean host.
And you're
Could be
the mean
host.
one. You're the mean one.
Okay. So, we are talking today, after we do our question of the week and news stuff, we'll probably try to keep those shorter.
Right.
So we can really spend the bulk of the time, which is not that long probably in general.
Right.
But, we want people to be able to listen to this on their drive to work. Yeah, we want them to be able to listen to it in a 30 to 45 minute time frame.
It's better than the other show, DC Rush Hour, right?
Yeah, and I hadn't done that in ages. I need to. I need to get back to it.
I don't blame you.
I need to get back to it. It's just one of those things. But that being said, Avengers Infinity War, all reviews, all spoiler.
Our reviews, not our reviews.
Not all reviews. Our reviews, our thoughts, our feelings, our trials and tribulations.
Let's get into it.
So we're going to start, though, with the question of the week from last time. So what is the B-Man question?
Simple question. I'm talking about the DC streaming service. It's coming out. When's it coming out? It's release day, right?
They didn't give a date. It's sometime this year, but they haven't given a date.
We know the show's coming out already.
There's 5 announced.
And we know the shows we've seen. If you're ahead of DC or even part of the DC world, and you can introduce a show that really hasn't been done before, something original, but part of the DC universe, what would it be?
All right. So I got 3 ideas. I'm going to make them quick. They don't try. These are not like, I didn't try to think of something original that, no one's ever put Swamp Thing and Howard the Duck together. I'm not trying to get that weird and original. I just wanted to come up with stuff that has not been done, like you said, has not been done. And I think they could pull off on a budget that they would spend on a TV show, think Daredevil budget,
right.
Legends of Tomorrow budget, S.H.I.E.L.D. budget, that type of thing. Because believe me, if budget was not an object, I'd go wilder.
No, that's cool.
Okay.
That's cool.
So third place for this is a World War II era all-star squadron. So the JSA, once World War II started and some of them enlisted in the armies and were out there fighting the Nazis and all that good stuff, the all-star squadron was the team at home keeping everybody safe.
Okay.
And you had, the Green Lanterns and Hourmans and all those kind of people in it.
Gotcha.
So, but I like the World War II setting. Kind of like I like Captain America and Wonder Woman and all that stuff. My second place, Ralph and Sue Dibney, the elongated man himself, in a detective show 80s style. I've brought this up before that I think it'd be a great show, doing an 80s style, Scarecrow, Mrs. King, Moonlighting, Remington Steele, one of those style detective shows, but do it with Ralph and Sue Dibney. And he has his powers, that's the twist, is he has his stretching powers. I think it'd be a fun show. My number 1, the Blue and the Gold, Blue Beetle and Booster Gold. Buddy cop show, basically. I want the blue and the gold.
I know you do. And that makes me sad. I had 2, actually.
Okay.
Options.
Hey, good.
Number 1, I was actually going to go kind of the detective story, kind of like you, but different detective.
All right.
The Question.
I'll be great.
Question, I think, it'd be very low budget.
Yeah.
But it can be done well, because it's just one detective show. I'd probably use Montoya, too, as well.
Well, I want to add one thing onto that. We were actually having this discussion last week at the comic shop about the question.
Really?
This came up. We were talking about Arrow right now, and you've got Richard Dragon in that, and it's not Richard Dragon. I'm sorry. They did not do Richard Dragon well for Arrow.
He's dead now, isn't he, in the comics?
With Rebirth and 52 and all, I'm not sure.
Okay.
But go back to Denny O'Neil classic question run. The Denny O'Neil run on the question was absolutely the best run. So I'd leave it Vic Sage, but he was trained by Richard Dragon. martial artist and all this kind of stuff. We said, the guy they cast in it, while he's a good actor, was not good for this part. How would you feel about this? Because that part would be small. It could be recurring 2 or 3 times in the season, but it'd be small except for the first episode. And cast Chuck Norris as Richard Dragon.
And I'm going to move on, actually.
I think that would be fantastic.
You're delaying this on Chuck Norris.
Visually, it looks great. Visually, it would be perfect fit.
I don't know how the acting would be.
It's Chuck Norris.
Yeah, exactly. You see Chuck Norris, he's Chuck Norris on screen.
Yeah,
that's what he is.
But wouldn't you like to see him training the question?
Okay,
keep going.
Number 1, the original goth, emo, king and queen themselves, Sandman and Death.
Oh, okay.
I think we use the Neil Gaiman stories, or Gaiman, whatever his name is, stories.
Yeah, Gaiman, yeah.
Use his stories. He had a fantastic run.
Yeah.
That lasted, how many years that last?
It started, went up through issue, I don't know, 80 or 90 or
yeah,
something
just
like
an
that.
amazing run. I think that'd be a fun story.
Well, fun.
Well, not really, okay, I wouldn't really go fun, but it'd be interesting.
Yes. Oh, it'd be entertaining.
You'd be definitely entertained.
Yes.
It was a great story.
Well, they keep trying to do it. They've tried to do movies. They've tried to do HBO series. And I don't know the current status, actually.
And they did
on
like a
that.
spin-off, Lucifer spin-off, which has been successful on, was it Fox, I think?
It's on Fox. And that's definitely a spin-off out of the Gaiman version of all of that.
Right, so I think Sandman and Death, use both of them.
I mean, it's... One of these days, somebody will finally do it.
Yeah.
I'm sure if Alan Moore was listening, he would say, no, it was written for the comics, don't do that. But even though he didn't have anything to do with it directly,
he's still complaining.
He was going to complain.
Alan Moore's complaining right now about something right now. There's a...
Something DC related, probably.
Probably, yeah. There's a bird flying in his house. I made that for the... He's a strange man.
Yeah. All right. So
news.
We got some good ones. I think of all those, my favorite actually might... Outside of wanting to see Booster and Beetle, I think the question might be the most fun of those shows.
Look at me with my dominating the DC question right there.
That's good. All right, a little bit of news for us. So I'm going to go with the non-Marvel news first, which is very short. I don't have many news items on here,
right.
But just so we can end with one that leads into our main topic. So Bill and Ted.
Part 3.
Bill and Ted Face the Music is the official title.
Oh,
unless they change it. That's the official title right now.
I am excited.
Yeah, Bill and Ted Face the Music. That's actually a pretty good title for it. I like it. I don't know how they're going to deal with the fact that George Carlin is dead. Will they try to do something in the story?
I hope they don't recast him. Let's leave that alone.
Yeah, recast, no, but if they could figure out... Actually, I read something, and I don't know if this isn't what I read, but it gave me an idea. Because of the time travel feature, if they could do something like they did with the Trouble with Tribbles when they had the Deep Space Nine cast, go back and they inserted them into the old footage. If you could take the current Keanu Reeves, and I'm blanking on the other actors.
Alex Winter, I think.
Yeah. If you take the current Bill and Ted, and in their time traveling, they land in a scene where Rufus and the young Bill and Ted are there, and not necessarily interacting, but having to work around them, so you can at least have Rufus in the scene. And it's just old footage, but if you could have that work...
having like deleted footage that we didn't see and use that like they did for...
and that would be great.
Superman 2 reboot, when they did that...
The Richard Donner?
Yeah.
That would be cool.
That would be cool. That'd be kind of cool if they did that.
Stuff like that would be okay. All right, so there's one. Okay, I'm going to get his name massacred here. I'm sure I'm not going to say this right. But Hafthor Bjornsson? Anyway, also known as the Mountain. What is his name in the show, in Game of Thrones?
I can't remember.
Clegane? Gregor?
Yeah, Gregor.
Okay.
See Gregor?
So, the Mountain.
Yes.
He has just been crowned the 2018 World's Strongest Man.
Yeah, he took that from me. I'm pretty upset by that.
You? Okay.
My title had for like 7 years in a row.
Well, I didn't know that. Anyway, I think it was kind of cool that not only is he playing a character that's supposed to be like that, he really is that in real life. And he is the first athlete ever to win the World's Strongest Man, Europe's Strongest Man, and the Arnold Strongman Classic in the same year. So kind of a triple crown winner there.
And he knows having a really bad day, John Paul. That lady is yelling shame. Because she's with him all day long now.
Well, there we go. So there's that. One other piece of non-Marvel-y news, although it dives into Marvel, Comcast. You heard of Comcast, right?
I've heard of them, yes.
They're considering placing a bid on Fox.
Yes, I've heard that as well.
Which I think the chances of them upsetting the deal are pretty small, but there is the possibility that could upset the deal, and I'm not sure how I feel about it.
At the end of the day, Disney always find a way to win. Disney just fight Comcast at that point. Okay, fine, by all of it.
If you could work it so that Comcast bought Fox, but as part of the deal, the Marvel characters were returned and sold back to, kind of a split deal. those were returned back to Marvel and Disney. And everything else that Fox owns, when you get into stuff like Aliens and all the rest, go to Comcast. Because I am worried about Disney being way too much of a monopoly on every property that's worth anything.
Disney
in the world.
might reboot Firefly. They're smart enough to do that. They love rebooting.
Except Universal has that one. Yeah, even though it showed on Fox, Universal owns the rights.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So but either way, so I'm kind of torn on whether I want them to get involved or not.
Okay.
But anyway, kind of a neat bit of news. All right, so now getting into some Avengers news. I got 2 bits. One, Avengers, at last time I looked, which was the end of the weekend, so
before we do that, actually,
yeah.
one quick question for you, Jumbo.
Yeah.
Cobra Kai came out.
Oh, haven't seen it.
Really?
I need to see it. I need to. I
the
love
first
Karate
2
Kid.
episodes are free on YouTube. Then you have to get into the YouTube Red thing.
Yeah.
And I watched the first 2. I personally loved them.
Yeah.
My wife was bored beyond belief, but I thought they were really entertaining. It's just a really good spin.
Yeah.
How
long were each episode?
25 minutes, give or take.
Okay, so it's like sitcom.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
And it is kind of like a sitcom. I mean, not really a sitcom, but it's a lot of humor.
It's that
in it.
length.
But
yeah,
it's
that
just
length.
a lot of fun.
All right.
So far. So, yeah. So,
Looking forward
anyways,
to it.
my windows.
All right, so Avengers, through the weekend, its second weekend, $1.2 billion worldwide, which by now is probably 1.3 or more. So ridiculous amounts of money. I mean, you can just picture the executives at Disney diving into the pots of gold and Scrooge McDuck's vault or whatever. You can just,
Is that more money than Suicide Squad made?
It's more money than anything is made almost. It's definitely fast. At this point in time, yeah, I'm not going to get baited here. This is going to, but it honestly is. No, it's good for them. They are raking in the cash.
Yes.
And the big question is, will they hit $2 billion?
Absolutely.
I think if Deadpool was starting this coming weekend, the answer would be no. I think that would shave off just enough they wouldn't make it. Because each week there's going to be a drop.
Right, in the view at this point.
This week, there's nothing that's going to pull from this. There's movies that start. There could be some that people enjoy, but there's nothing that's going to pull away from this movie. And next weekend is, the next one is when Deadpool starts, if I remember right.
And it actually blows my mind because from what I heard, Black Panther's still doing pretty well in theaters right now. Which is funny because it just came out on digital yesterday.
Yeah.
It's like, so, I don't know.
Oh, I actually listened to a podcast yesterday. Not only is it doing well, but going into Avengers opening, like the week before Avengers opened, it was in 8th or 9th place. Avengers 3 opening pulled Black Panther back up to number 5.
You serious?
So for the first, I think they said, if the podcast I was listening to is correct, for the first time ever, Marvel had 2 movies in the top 5 at the same time. Or 2, the first time since like the first year or 2 of the thing.
Okay.
So it's kind of cool.
It is.
And that 1.2 billion does not include 2 little bitty, worldwide stuff starts at different times. Some of these are inconsequential, so I don't know if these 2 countries will have anything to add to the total. But there's a little country called Russia and another small country. I don't think they have any people in it. China, I think is their name.
They haven't got it yet, huh?
They haven't gotten it yet.
Wow.
So I think 2 billion is a given.
2 billion, I think is a given, yes, absolutely.
I think they're going to hit that.
And good for them.
Oh, I mean, just in general, because it's going to help every superhero movie that anybody proposes. I just wish it was a better movie. But that being said, we're going to get to the review.
You're not baiting me, Jump On. Your wrong opinion.
No. One last bit of news.
Yes.
I do think this one's ridiculous. I have a feeling you're going to agree with me on this one.
Okay.
So one of the 2 directors, one of the Russo brothers, says the Hulk, which, I'm not going to say spoiler warning, but just, this is the beginning of spoiler stuff. The Hulk is in this movie for a few moments, and then there's no more Hulk. The Hulk won't come out to play anymore.
Right.
According to the director, it's not because he's afraid. He's not coming out because he's tired. The directors wrote and directed and created this movie. They're the ones who know what they meant in the movie. They said the reason the Hulk won't come out is he's tired of all the time he's been protecting Banner, and it's time for Banner to deal with stuff on his own.
Okay.
I think that's the stupidest reason in the world.
Well, I can think of stupider reasons. Like, Martha! Shut up. Go ahead.
There you go. That's it. That was the last of the news items. That was the last one. All right, so you have now seen the movie.
I have, yes.
Okay. So, I will ask the dumb question. What did you think of it?
I thought it was the perfect setup movie for a sequel. I think it was. I know it's not part 1 of part 2. Let's be real. It's part 1 of part 2.
They originally announced it as part 1 and part 2.
Right. This is part 1 of part 2.
And they took away that title other movies started bombing with a part 1, part 2.
This movie was the first time I've been in a movie theater in a very long time where after everything ended, the audience was sat there stunned. Everybody was stunned. Everybody is talking about this movie right now. Everybody should be talking about this movie right now. It was not perfect. No movie's perfect. Yeah. Unless you're kind of like the original Crow. I mean, that one's perfect.
There's a couple Hitchcocks.
A couple. You know what I mean.
You know what you mean.
There were many great parts of this movie. Many, many great parts. Entertaining. It was the Empire Strikes Back of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
See, you mentioned that to me the other day.
Okay, now go ahead and counter this.
Here's where I disagree, because I think, as a reminder to everybody, if you didn't pick up on my comment earlier, I really didn't enjoy the movie.
Right.
Okay.
But I don't think you're going to enjoy it again.
And this is not about quality of production or anything like that. I mean, all the actors did a good job. Production quality really high.
Right.
You would hope if they're spending $400+ million per day, or it's not that much. I mean, I think it's $400,000 per day or something. For a lot of days, they went over budget and all this kind of stuff. You would hope production qualities are good. All that aside, you'd mentioned the Empire Strikes Back thing.
Right.
However, at the end of Empire Strikes Back, I don't remember feeling completely depressed. I remember thinking there's hope. Again, remember, I know Chapter 4, Episode 4 was A New Hope. But at the end of Star Wars, at the end of Empire Strikes Back, there was still some level of hope.
This is what happened in the Empire Strikes Back. Luke lost his arm.
Only his hand, not an arm. He's not Thor. Thor is his arm.
He lost his hand. Han Solo's possibly gone for good. They're on the run. Where's the hope?
All right, so
you need to deconstruct the heroes to build up hope.
So you got Lando and Chewie going out.
We're not Star Wars now.
No, but I'm saying Lando and Chewie going out to rescue Han. They're going to meet Luke there. I mean, they have a plan for moving forward. There was a moment of hope, a glimmer of hope, including the music that, with them standing in front of the thing, that kicks in the Star Wars music and the fanfare. You can't tell me John Williams' music doesn't give you hope when you hear it. I mean, that's just a factor of John Williams' music. So this did not have any of that. This had nothing but down and then further down and then further down and then end on, bad guy won and that's it, huh? That's the end.
No. See, it's the way you're saying that right there. This is a movie, because people complaining, Marvel's just this way, and you're one of the people as well. It's like, Marvel they have one cookie cut away. I've complained about it as well. They have completely changed that. This movie just was completely different. This movie, we saw the bad guy come in there, and these heroes that we followed and came so attached to for the last decade, destroyed them. Just destroyed them all with ease.
Yeah.
And it was brilliant, because no comic book movie in history, not even Watchmen, could do that. Let's be real. That's true. He went in there, destroyed these guys, people that we've been following for all these years, people that we fall in love with all these years, that we just, like The Walking Dead, we stayed Walking Dead for a couple of years when we shouldn't have. So attached to these characters, and he just destroyed them. And it doesn't hurt you just a little bit, and like, the back guy went, okay, well, then, like, what? What do you mean?
Nothing. There was, to me, Loki dying at the beginning.
Right.
Hurt.
Absolutely.
That one was an emotional death there.
Right.
That one was written very well. Right. That whole opening scene I thought was done well, except for the saving Hulk thing.
I did call Loki dying, by the way. I did call Loki dying.
Oh, okay.
That's my prediction.
Yeah.
One of the few I got right.
Yeah. So I will say that opening scene was very good.
Right.
At the end, because it's so obvious that, this is temporary. A complaint we've all had. Everybody in the industry, even people who love Marvel better than anything else that ever existed, have complained that Marvel is too loose with the killing tons of people and bringing them all back moments later, a page later, one book later, or whatever. It was very clear from the very first person that dissolves to the last, this is very temporary. There's no emotional connection.
Two things you're wrong right there. Number one, if you don't follow the comic book, like Infinity Gauntlet, where half the heroes just disappeared, like he did right there in the movie, people would be upset. What happened? All these heroes must be gone. All these guys are dead. If you don't do that, then you're not paying tribute to the comic. So people, they take heat for that. They pay tribute to this comic by doing that. Number two, if you tell me that last Spider-Man death begging for his life, and you're a father holding your little kid, because you see Spider-Man as a kid. The other heroes, my God, what's going on? Whatever. He's begging for his life as Iron Man's holding him. You don't feel any emotional attachment whatsoever to that? Then you have no heart, John Paul. You have no heart. That's Spider-Man. That's Spider-Man. That's a teenage Spider-Man begging for his life, and he's disappearing. That's heart-wrenching.
Again, just because you know, like, if nothing else, because we know for the next 4 or 5 years the exact movie release schedule, we know there's a Black Panther 2 coming. We know there's another Spider-Man coming. We know there's another this.
Okay.
That. We know these are all coming back. We know it's 1 year from now. They all come back in a blaze of glory.
When Batman vs Superman, when Superman died, you're like, oh man, they killed Superman. You knew he's coming back. Who cares? What's the point of doing anything in these movies? You know, why see a James Bond movie? You know James Bond's not going to die. You just say the day in the movie. What's the point of seeing those, John Paul? I mean, you're making...
The point of seeing James Bond, the point of seeing it is watching, one is the banter between Bond and the villain, if it's a good one, like a Goldfinger or Scaramanga in Man with the Golden Gun or something like that.
Not Licensed to Kill?
Maybe.
No.
Okay. But with certain ones, you watch it for that. You watch it for the cool gadgets. You watch it for the intricate plots. You know going in. It's like a romantic comedy. You know going in, these two characters are going to end up together. Okay. You watch it for the journey. Right. This one, the journey was all downhill.
Right.
Nothing.
It was a build up to a huge battle with the next movie, where the D-list heroes would come out there and fight this guy.
Yeah,
on the brink of it.
I just thought that if they were going to do that, I would have paced it differently. I would have left this movie with some glimmer of hope, something. Adam Warlock, it's Adam, right?
Yes.
Okay. Adam Warlock appearing at the end saying, "Heroes, don't give up hope. There is a path forward." Some kind of something. Give us some kind of, basically the heartbeat at the end of Batman vs Superman. Not only did you have Bruce and Diana off to the side saying they're going to gather everybody together, but a focus on the dirt on the coffin, and there was a heartbeat right before the credits start rolling. You want some moment of hope, something that's, there's a reason to come back. This one ended literally with the bad guy sitting on his porch, drinking Lipton tea, happily ever after, almost. I mean,
he was not doing that, by the way. He was not doing that at all.
I mean, that's the feeling, though. That's almost the...
I have no problem with a bad guy winning. I think it's about time bad guy won. I mean, why is it so bad that a bad guy wins a movie? Or a superhero movie? Bad guys win movies all the time. But, I mean, no. Nobody was expecting this. This movie, I mean, think of it. When was the last movie, any comic movie, where people were just talking about it and just stunned? That we need to talk about this. People need to talk about this movie.
And that's what I don't get is I have not seen all those people talking about it. I see everybody posting online on Facebook, "I was stunned." But then they don't talk about it. I see people saying this, that, or the other. You're talking about how people sat in the movie theater.
Right.
In my movie theater, which was fairly full, credits rolled, people got up and started walking out and were talking back and forth.
About the movie, probably.
Some were, and some, I mean, I wasn't listening to every conversation. I know at least one person was talking about the baby that was in the theater that was crying, that, how could those people bring a baby in here? I heard that conversation.
That's infuriating, yes.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Yeah. It didn't really disturb much because the movie's loud enough. We don't hear the baby. But there were other conversations going on other than about the details. But, it's just...
See, I honestly think, man, I think this is overwhelming jealousy of your part. I really do.
No, because I really enjoy Avengers 1. Love Avengers 1. 2, not so much.
2 wasn't as bad as people say it is. 2 was decent.
But definitely not
one
quality of Avengers 1.
Right, I agree.
I finally read Infinity Gauntlet.
Okay.
2 nights ago.
Okay.
I went out and bought the trade paperback.
I would let you borrow, by the way. That's all right.
It's okay. Alex wanted a copy, and that's fine.
Alex is John Paul's son, by the way.
Yes. So we got a copy, sat down, read it, was excited because it had a big history like Secret Wars, Crisis on Infinite Earths, all this kind of stuff. George Perez doing the art. Jim Starlin, who's a good writer, doing the writing. I so did not enjoy that story.
Of course you didn't.
No, for different reason. For different reason though. This was one of the poorest written comics I've ever read.
It was right back in the 90s. All those comics were poorly written, JP. The world's changed since then.
But every single scene was just people sitting around talking. I mean, one thing that was very different on this, from the very first page, Thanos already has the Infinity Gauntlet. Okay. He has it from page 1. Not that that's a problem. I'm just saying he has it from page 1. And the first 3 or 4 or 5 pages is just him sitting around, him and Mephisto talking. And it flashes back and forth with some other characters, whatever. But every time it comes back to them, it's just, oh, do you remember the time when you died and then you came back? And do you remember the time? And do you remember the time? Show us the stuff. Don't just talk about it. Show versus tell, it's a big story element. You're not supposed to just...
So you need a visual. Okay, I got you. Okay, so anyways, back to the movie.
But anyway, so I would just say that at least my disappointment in this story, it is not limited to just the movie. It is the comic too, which they were very different. They were very different, but...
I wouldn't go very different, but they are different, yes.
Well, I mean, everybody, the snap, everybody dying, or disintegrating, or whatever, happened in the first third of the book of Infinity Gauntlet.
Probably
so 2/3, almost, not quite, but almost 2/3 of it, they were gone.
Right.
Here, it took to the very last scene.
Right.
So basically the halfway point.
Okay.
And you know they're all going to come back before the last scene of the second movie.
Maybe. I'm not sure about that.
I would hope they would.
I hope not, but go ahead.
But anyway.
Okay, so go ahead. What complaints next? I'm interested in these complaints of yours, John Paul.
Interested in complaints. Well,
yes.
Well, first, I'm going to mention one thing I really enjoyed in the movie. I want you to mention one thing you were disappointed in, because there has to be at least one. I had stuff I enjoyed. There's probably at least one thing you're disappointed in. I'll go first, though. And I already mentioned, I'm not going to count the Loki scene and all that at the beginning. I thought that was really well done. But no, Spider-Man, when Peter is on the bus, even though I complained about Spider-Man Homecoming or whatever, that bus scene with his friend caused the distraction, him getting out, Stan Lee's brief appearance, and then him swinging in to help try to save the day, even though none of them saved the day at that moment. His journey into space, holding on, the Iron Spider suit coming up and catching him, and you think for a moment, oh, he's out of it. He's not going to be, because I'd forgotten trailer scenes I'd seen in the trailer. And then you actually do see him still climbing up and prying open and getting inside the unit to go along. That was a very, very, very well done Spider-Man moment.
Right.
Him at the last moment getting inside the big donut ship thing. I don't know if they have a name. They called it a donut in the thing is why I call it that. But him knowing he's out of his element, but still taking that next step was a very Spider-Man moment. Okay. It was kind of like him fighting... who's the Herald of Galactus that he fought? Fire?
Surfer?
No, Fire something.
I know you're talking about. I can think of his name.
But you know what I'm talking about. That was an event. Well, half in Spider-Man, half in Avengers. But when he fought him, Firestar. No, it's not Firestar. Yeah, that's Spider-Man's Amazing Friends too.
Yeah,
but Fire Lord. That was a very Spider-Man scene. I love that. That scene was great.
I agree.
So. Was there anything that you were disappointed? If there was not, there wasn't. But was there anything you were disappointed?
I wasn't disappointed. I'm just kind of like, that probably shouldn't happen that way. And again, this is just nitpicking, because you can nitpick any movie, essentially. Early in the movie, you saw Thanos just trash Hulk. Yeah. No problems at all, right?
Right.
At the end of the movie, when he has a couple gems on and stuff like that, he faces Captain America. Captain America actually puts up a fight with him.
Yeah.
Kind of like, well, that probably, if he throws Hulk around like Hulk's a baby, Cap doesn't have much of a chance here.
Yeah, no,
So, and then I was like, okay, that's stretching the... But again, that's just nitpicking. Other than that, I thought it was great.
Well, here's a nit to pick. This is tiny. But I thought with as much money as they spent, they should have done a little bit better job on a few of the CGI scenes.
Oh, no, you can't say that.
There's a few of those. But the biggest one was at the end. Bruce looked so bad in the armor, standing there with everybody else.
You can watch a clip of that. The armor is proportionate. It's correct. His head's supposed to barely stick out of that. It's proportionate.
Head barely sticking out's fine. It was just there was something where it looked matted wrong in the scene. But anyway, that was one.
He was tossed around quite a bit.
The other is more of a story element. That one was a technical element. The other is a story element. You're Heimdall. You're dying. You hope for one last moment of power to save... Hey, I'd try to save everybody I could. But if you can save one, do you save the son of your glorious leader? The one that all hope would rest in? Or this green monster creature?
You said the green monster creature back home.
Yeah, I know, but why did Heimdall save Hulk instead of saving Thor?
Because Thor, he probably figured Thor could stay alive out of space. Which, in fact, he did.
Well, yes.
So he sent the creature back home where he belonged in the hope that the God would stay alive, which he did. So Heimdall was actually correct. So by him though being correct, you have a problem with that? You have a problem with this God knowing more than you know, John Paul?
I really don't think he thought it through in that manner.
Really? You don't have no idea. You don't have a God, John Paul.
I really think it was the writers going, we can't use Silver Surfer to crash down into Doctor Strange's place. Because it's supposed to be Silver Surfer that crashed.
Right.
We can't have him, so we need somebody. So they went that direction because they wanted to put Thor the Guardians at some point. I think it was all, we have to achieve these 2 or 3 points. So who's left?
See, again, that is extreme. Let me tear you apart here. All right?
Okay.
Going to Justice League.
Okay.
Which you loved Justice League. You loved it?
Yeah, really enjoyed it, really.
It wasn't a good movie. But anyways, Justice League. The CGI in the movie was 10 times worse than Avengers. 10 times worse than Avengers. Not even close. Number 2, main plot points. Even the problem with the Hemdale in there.
Yeah.
This was point out the other day. I watched it twice and don't need to watch the movie again. To me, it was like, okay, this movie isn't that great.
I think I've seen it 4 times now, but okay.
Anyways.
Yeah.
This is pointed out me yesterday. I totally forgot about this point. Batman fights off Darkseid's little...
Steppenwolf.
What's the flying thing called?
Oh, the parademons?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
fights on them.
Yeah.
Catches them, thing blows up. There's a map right there, the thing blows up. I'm like, what the heck? There's literally like this... I found this guy blew up, and luckily it gave me this map of what should go wrong and what's about to happen. Luckily, when you kill somebody, that thing blows up, it gives you a map of what's about to happen. You're okay with that. Nonsense.
It was weird.
It's complete nonsense. But you're complaining about this.
They're very, very different elements, too. Was that weird that a parademon blowing up would leave behind a picture of mother boxes?
Stupid.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
It's very weird.
It's stupid.
However, that was not a character making a decision. That was a writer somewhere making a decision. A character in the story making a decision. Yes, a writer had to write what they were doing, but Hemdall's decision was just stupid.
No, it wasn't. It worked. You can't say a decision is stupid if it works, Jean Paul.
Yeah, but what if he had saved Thor? Think maybe things could have been better? I think maybe.
You don't know. He made a split-second decision, and the decision he made worked.
And at that moment, Loki, who's the only one who knew where the stone was still alive.
Heimdall couldn't trust Loki. Nobody can trust Loki. That's Loki's signature, is that nobody can trust Loki. You can't send Loki to Earth. Loki's trying to take over Earth.
Send him somewhere. You can send him wherever.
His decision worked. He sent a creature that people would know who he is, who knows Earth perfectly. Bruce Banner knows Earth better than Thor knows him. He knows Earth better than Loki knows Earth. Sent him there, who's a genius, and hopefully get across. He made a decision that worked, and you're upset about that. So go ahead.
Yeah, I'm upset because it was a dumb decision.
You can't say dumb decisions are dumb decisions when they work, John Paul. You can't say that.
There's getting lucky, or there's just poor writing. This one, I think, is just poor writing.
Okay, well, we disagree on that. Go ahead. Go more your foolishness complaints.
Now, the worst part of the movie. Okay, worst part of the movie. Anything that had to do with the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Again, this is John Paul's opinion only.
Yes, but anything that had to do with the Guardians, which was 1/3 of the movie. This was 3 movies. You had 1/3 of the movie that was Doctor Strange and Iron Man and Spider-Man in space doing their thing. You had 1/3 of the movie that was Captain America and Black Panther and such on Earth. And you had 1/3 of the movie that was Thor and the Guardians of the Galaxy in space. And yes, you did have a couple of times where characters split up or did different things. But in general, those are your 3 different movies going on.
Okay.
That felt nothing like each other at all. It was almost like there were 3 completely separate movies that somebody decided to cram together.
Again, like Justice League had 2 different directors, totally different areas, and felt totally different.
Blended better than this.
Not at all. Oh my,
so
the biases is horrible.
It blended better than these 3 sections.
This is the worst biasm in the world. Okay, go ahead. Keep talking.
Okay.
Keep talking.
And the section, and Thor, in some scenes, felt like the Thor from Thor 1 and Thor 2.
Okay.
But anytime he's around the Guardians, he felt like the Thor from Thor Ragnarok, where they had dumbed him down.
They never dumbed him down.
The stupid joke Thor thing from Thor 3, he just felt like they had removed 50 IQ points from him, whatever.
Never
That's
was.
What it felt.
And I'm with you on Thor. Our opinions of Thor Ragnarok was almost identical.
But the whole, what was he kept calling Rocket Raccoon?
Like bunny or rabbit or whatever?
Yeah. He knows the difference between a rabbit.
Why would he know the difference between a rabbit and a raccoon? Why would he know that?
Why wouldn't he know that?
He hasn't been on Earth that long. He never really was on Earth all that much.
He's been on Earth enough, plus he's been around for how many thousands of years? Wasn't it like a couple thousand years or something?
So all the creatures in this world, he knows the difference between a No, I can see.
He knows it's not a bunny rabbit. He knows it's not a bunny rabbit. It was dumb. The whole bunny thing was dumb. I will say this. My exception to the whole Guardians thing. Rocket Raccoon, I would go watch a movie with just him. Leave Groot out. I don't want Groot. But just Rocket.
What's wrong with Groot?
Kind of limited dialogue. He's annoying. I don't like Groot.
Okay.
Very limited dialogue and stupid.
I agree the dialogue is limited. I can't argue with that one.
But Rocket himself, I like him. They write him very well. He's the only one of the Guardians I like.
Okay.
And it's weird that
So you don't like the Guardians?
Yeah, I don't like the Guardians.
Good.
Which is 1/3 of the movie. One of the other 1/3 of the movie, I didn't think that Robert Downey Jr. and Benedict Cumberbatch together worked. I thought their personalities are too similar. They should have had them split up and be, one of them be part of the Earth team, one of them part of the space team.
I think that's the Passion of the Torch moment. I really do. I think Downey Jr. is done. I think he dies in the next movie. I really do.
Here, we'll pause on this. Did you, because I honestly did you think that he was about to die? Not just about to die, but that, okay, this is the moment they're going to kill off Iron Man?
No, I knew he'd survive to the last one. I
honestly thought that was
during the movie. I know I said Cap would die originally. I said no. I think Cap and Iron Man would die the very last one, the final battle.
I didn't see it coming in. Like I didn't predict it going into the movie, but when they did that, it's like they're actually going to do it. Not part of the everybody dies thing, but they're actually going to kill Iron Man. No. I really thought in that moment they were going to do it.
I didn't think they were going to.
Yeah.
Okay, so
that was just kind of curious what you thought on that because I really did think that was one that was about to happen. And that one, being different from the other deaths, would have been more of an emotional impact.
Absolutely. But again, I think you needed Iron Man. With half those heroes going away, a lot of popular ones, you needed Iron Man to sit there and carry the torch. All
right, so I've heard some people compare something else. Getting away from there's opinion. We're going to have our opinions. But getting away from some of that, examining some of the details. A lot of people have said, since they didn't go the Lady Death route, that Gamora kind of fills the role of Lady Death in this movie. Do you see that?
No.
No?
With the very last scene, when you see Gamora, it's like kind of like very light, this Gamora, this little girl sitting there. I thought they were going to go Death route at that. Okay, with some wife, it's going to be Death. It's going to be Death. Because I was waiting for Death to show up.
Okay.
Death never showed up.
Yeah, they didn't go there.
And maybe this wasn't a whole balancing of the universe. This is really him doing this all for Death. Because he can lie. It's Thanos. He can lie. Of course he can lie. So it didn't go that direction. I don't see it as Death as much. It did humanize Thanos as people thought he didn't love anything. He really did love... I felt that he really did love Gamora at the end of that movie. When he killed her, I could feel that. But he felt he needed to do what he needed to do.
All right. So a prediction for the next movie, real quick.
Okay.
Since I just read Infinity Gauntlet.
Right.
Do you think Nebula is going to get the gauntlet?
Yes. For a brief moment.
Just because she had it for a big chunk of the story in the comic.
Not a big chunk.
Oh, it felt... I mean, I don't remember how it broke down because it was individual issues.
She was tortured and he came in at the cosmic element. I remember her grabbing it or something like that, right?
It felt like... And I don't remember how many issues. Say the original Gauntlet was 6 issues long.
Okay.
Let's pretend that's how long it was. It's looking at the thickness of the book. For at least one entire issue of that, she had the Gauntlet. Might have been 2. Might have been 2 entire issues.
I think it was 2. I think it was just 1.
But from the moment she got it, she had it all the way till the very end of the story. Until they finally get it free and then Warlock gets it. But she had it for a huge chunk of the story. And then there was all the cosmic beings.
You almost have to have her get it. At the same point, too, I think Nebula in the comics was more evil than this Nebula was. Because Nebula in the comics, like, oh, now she has the gauntlet. That's worse now.
Yeah, I remember people saying it was worse.
Where I'm like, this one I don't feel like would be as bad. This Nebula, I think, is...
They've reformed her somewhat.
Yeah, she's been reformed quite a bit, actually.
Yeah.
They actually made her good as the last one goes in. So I don't think it's going to be this bad. No, so she almost has to.
Unless that's a twist. Unless that's a place where if they intended Gamora to take the emotional spot of Lady Death, will they find a different character to fill her spot? So you're expecting Nebula to get it, but somebody else does instead.
I'm kind of curious if Gamora as a little girl is going to be the next one. Is that going to be the version of Death? I'm kind of curious about that.
That'd be kind of cool if they turned her into Death.
Yeah. I hope Gamora comes back. I think she will. I think she's trapped in the Soul Stone right now. Yeah. I don't think she's actually dead.
Yeah, she's trapped in that. Not her body, but her spirit or whatever.
Right. Which is fine. That's all I need. Okay.
Well, plus, once somebody comes around and snaps their fingers... Oh, okay. Here's a question.
Okay.
I don't remember anywhere in the comic or in the movie them saying he had to be able to close his fist or snap or anything else to make the gauntlet work. It was just like The gauntlet gave him power. He could just,
Right.
in the comic, at one point, he wanted something to blow up, and it blew up.
Right.
He didn't have to do this. There was that iconic moment in the comic where he snaps his finger, and half the universe is dead.
Right.
They did have that. So that moment was so iconic, they wanted to get to that point in the story of him snapping his fingers. But I never saw anything where he had to do that.
Again, that was the change they made for the movie. We had to close his hand.
Because,
I believe.
Because they kept, in the fight, they kept trying to keep his hand open.
Right.
But they never even in the movie made it look like he had to do that. I don't remember them saying he had
to. In
to.
the movie, they made sure his hand had to stay open.
Well, they had it, but did they ever say he had to close it to do anything? Or did they just fight?
In the movie, they said, don't make sure he doesn't close his hand. They made it a few times. The comic, I don't recall that at all. But it's been years since I read the comic.
Anyway,
I can't
that was,
recall.
to me, that was one of those, for the fans coming in who've read the comic and know it, they're waiting for the snap. So we're going to write something into the story to build towards the snap.
Okay, well,
I don't know.
Cool.
It was just kind of odd. I thought the whole closing the hand versus not closing the hand was odd. One other moment.
Nitpicking. Yes.
One other moment. Here's a nitpick the other direction. A really good nitpick. Almost a nat pick for size. The dwarf, who was a giant.
Yes. Peter Dinklage.
One of the best castings in the entire movie.
Absolutely.
I thought that scene was
You
great.
and I totally agree, and that shows Dinklage's humor anyways.
Yeah, that was perfect. Oh, I did have a question. Okay, did he have metal poured over his hands, or were those fake hands that were cast and put on his arms where his hands had been cut off? I couldn't tell which it was supposed to be.
What do you mean?
In the movie, his hands were metal. His fists were metal.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't know.
And
they never really explained that.
They didn't explain it. He took away my hands or something like that was the phrase.
Yeah.
But I wasn't sure whether or not those were fake hands, which there'll be no way around to make the fake hands. So I assumed it was metal poured over them.
I imagine he can make. Well, he's a maker. He creates things. I imagine if anybody can make a hand, it'd be him.
Yeah.
So I imagine it's just fake.
But I just wasn't sure which it was.
They never really explained it.
Okay.
And again, I don't think you need to. You can't explain it.
No, you don't have to. No, you don't have to on that. Any other points you want to bring up about the movie? Good, bad, or otherwise?
I think it was, again, I think this is a solid setup to the next movie. This is everything I wanted it to be. It's creating lots of buzz. You might not hear it. The thing is, I don't think you want to hear the buzz. I really don't.
Well, I hear plenty of people talking about it. I don't hear people sitting around talking about, woe is me, these characters died.
No, they're creating, like, how could that happen? I think people are so stunned they went that direction. Again, you're blowing it up. You're sure. And that's what blows my mind is the fact that I can't see how anybody can watch these movies from beginning. And you watched them all. Except Black Panther, I believe.
Black Panther and Guardians 2.
Okay. So all those movies you watched up to this point, and you saw these heroes just get decimated, and you're like, whatever.
Because it was done so over the top. It was obviously not real. Not real. I don't mean like it was an illusion.
Not all of it was done over the top.
But I just, again, Loki was not over the top. What almost happened to Iron Man was not over the top. But I thought that entire final, everybody dissolving, was just, it's so obvious that they'll all be back here in a few minutes.
If you watch the movie where Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, all these characters just get destroyed, like when Darkseid finally shows up in these movies eventually, which hopefully they reboot the movies before that happens, when Darkseid finally shows up, and if he just destroyed all of them, you'd be shocked. You'd be like, oh my god, this just happened.
No, if all of them were destroyed, it'd be like, oh, okay, so I wonder how they're all going to come back. That's the very next thought is, how's everybody going to come back? In this one, we know they come back because somebody else gets the gauntlet and brings everybody back. Right. This one, we even know how it happens. There's no suspense. That's the problem. Again, there's no suspense, and because there's no suspense, there's no emotional impact.
Because there's no suspense, there is no stupid way to bring him back. The resurrection of Superman was absolutely horrendous. It was the stupidest thing I've ever heard. It's like this magic box on Themyscira or whatever it is that right? Themyscira?
Well, that's where one of them was.
Okay, the magic box that he has immense power. So the first thing Batman thinks of, wait, I mean, Superman got to life now. Like, that's where you went to with this? It was so forced. This isn't forced, John Paul. This is not forced. This is a big setup. Every detail, everything is coming to fruition. And again, I mean, I think because it's not DC, you just can't accept that. No, I really do. I think because the fact that you like these movies that Suicide Squad, for example, I always bring that up a lot, was one of the worst stories. It was the worst story that fit, and the premise of Suicide Squad is terrible. They got the whole premise wrong, that movie. The premise of, so we send these bad guys in, so we're clear. We're sending these bad guys in with military backing them up. Okay, so they're not a Suicide Squad. They're obviously working with you guys.
Well, they were a Suicide Squad. They were not a covert squad in this case.
Which is what they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be your hands are clean. The bad guys, we didn't do anything wrong. The bad guys did it. We're actually hands clean.
It's a super villain version of Mission Impossible.
And they got it completely
the
wrong.
Dirty Dozen.
They got it
all that kind of
completely
stuff.
wrong. Yeah. But you love that movie.
I really enjoyed it.
And the story
it's
itself,
not the story I would have done first.
Exactly. I mean,
it's definitely not the story I've done first. I enjoyed it though.
It was. They had the premise wrong. They had the villain wrong. They had everything wrong. But you loved that movie. With this movie, you had a perfect setup.
Other than you had a boring villain.
No, the
with
villain
no
was
suspense.
fantastic. The villain's much better than Steppenwolf was. Much better.
I don't see that.
Not even close. Not even remotely close. The premise of Batman v Superman, another movie you loved, started because Batman's having nightmares. The whole reason of Batman v Superman was because Batman was having nightmares, and the whole twist was Superman said the word Martha, and that snapped Batman out of his nightmares. That is the stupidest plot. If you break it down, that is the stupidest plot in any movie I've ever seen, and you love that. But you hate this, and that blows my mind. I can't fathom this. I'm trying to fathom this, and I can't fathom this. I mean, seriously.
And it's the same.
And because you can't, I think it. And before you saw the movie, I even told you. I told my wife, "You're not going to like it."
But I went in hoping I would.
But
I went into Avengers 1 hoping I would, and I did. I went into Avengers 2 assuming I would.
And Avengers 1 was such a fun movie, but it was such a simple story. It was a very simple story.
It was a simple story. One thing when I was rating, we're going to talk about this on a future episode,
right.
But I've gone through and rated all the DC and Marvel movies separately. They're in their own columns of my enjoyment and everything else.
Right.
Taking into account rewatchability and all that kind of stuff. I have found, and this isn't just with Avengers, I have found that with a lot of Joss Whedon stuff, after repeated viewings, it starts going downhill. Not bad, but it loses its appeal after several. A lot of Joss Whedon's writing is about having that first impact.
And the quick wit as well. The humor.
Once you know the joke,
right.
It's not as impactful. I loved Cabin in the Woods.
Right.
After seeing it twice, I love certain scenes, but I don't like to sit there and watch the entire thing.
For example, in Avengers, when Loki's making this monologue and Hulk describes him and starts beating drunk out of him.
Yeah.
That's hysterical.
It is. The second time, not as funny because you know it's coming.
Right, exactly.
Third and fourth time,
that's fine.
Done. But certain movies, like Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Empire Strikes Back, certain movies you can watch over and over and over. Sometimes you see something new every time. Sometimes there's more to it. And believe me, I love Joss Whedon. Anything his name is on it, I'll go watch it at least once.
Right.
But I found some of his stuff doesn't hold up as well.
And that's fine.
Over time. That's fine. Avengers 1, I have found, as much as I enjoyed it, its perfection sheen is fading.
But again, dating back to DC, Suicide Squad I watched twice. Second time I liked it better than the first time, just because I was so disappointed the first time. But it still wasn't good. Still, I would say best I'll give a rating is D-, which is barely passing high school.
Well, my guess is I would probably enjoy Infinity War more the second time because I wish after the fact I had actually heard all the spoilers up front.
Why?
Because
that defeats the purpose of seeing a movie.
My expectation for a movie like this is, yes, I knew there was going to be another movie next year.
Right.
I did not know how clearly it was going to be a part 1, part 2 because they had gotten rid of the part 1, part 2 title. I didn't know how standalone they were going to make it. There were obviously going to be story elements that carried over, but I didn't know if it would be.
That is one thing I will say that this was definitely a part 1.
Yeah, it's definitely part 1, no question. But end of A New Hope, end the original Star Wars movie.
Right.
You see Darth Vader flying off. Yes, the Death Star has been destroyed. The Empire's still out there. I mean, the rebels didn't defeat the entire Empire. They destroyed the Death Star, but Darth Vader got away. There's more to come. I didn't know whether to expect that style ending to this or a complete to be continued or what. But when they got rid of the part 1, part 2 title, I was expecting more of a complete story with a strong continued element.
Okay, that is one thing I will give you, that it wasn't a complete story.
Yeah, it's definitely not.
But again, the movie's already filmed and ready to go before they change the part 1, part 2 thing. Yeah, you can't.
Yeah,
you don't change that.
But still, I went in not knowing that. It would help if I knew I'm just watching, episode 1 and next year episode 2, and instead of it being a week-to-week television show, It happens to be 12 months between episodes, but they're part of the same thing. That would have helped. Going in, knowing fully what to expect would have helped. Expectations would have been set appropriately. Because I kept waiting at the end for something positive to happen. Some moment of hope, some glimmer of hope, something. And there's zero. There is no moment of hope.
I didn't want any hope at all. I wanted a complete defeat. And that's what I got.
You got it. You absolutely got it.
So I got what I wanted to get what you wanted. Yeah. I wanted a villain. I wanted Thanos to be terrifying. I wanted him to be just the destroyer. And that is what they gave us. They gave us a villain that is unbeatable. Yeah. And that's what
until next year.
Until next year. Okay, still.
He'll be beatable then.
Right.
If he's not beatable then we got a problem.
Well, I mean, again, I kind of hope it's still a dark ending. I really do. Yeah. I don't want a lot of these heroes to come back. I mean, the ones that vanished at the end, they'd come back. But I want more death. I want more hero.
We'll see what happens.
He's gonna leave his mark. He needs to leave his mark.
Yeah, we're gonna see what happens next time. But looking at the clock on the wall, I think we've run this one into the ground for now. We will probably bring this up, just like with Last Jedi. We'll bring this up many times.
Well, Last Jedi, you and I agree on. I think this one, you and I are on very different pages.
We'll still bring it up. It's just gonna happen. So, do we have a question for next time?
We do. Simple question. MegaCon's coming up on the 24th, but today is the 9th. By the time you post this, it'll be like the 14th.
Right. Something like that.
What are you looking forward to most at MegaCon?
All right.
Simple question, right? We did every year.
Talk a whole lot more at MegaCon next time, and then we'll record live from MegaCon. Not broadcast live, but record live from the floor.
We record live every day, actually, technically. So
I guess we do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. Not just talk about it. We'll actually be in the midst of it. All right. Well, for John Paul,
the B-Man,
this is the Old Titans on the Geeks Worldwide Network, and we are out of here.
This has been a production of the GWW Radio Network. Please don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. Also, check out Geeks Worldwide at thegww.com for all the latest news, reviews, and opinions on video games, comics, movies, TV, cosplay, and more. Geeks Assemble!